Hey guys, welcome to Pistons Talk post-game show. If you are new here, this is something we're going to be doing this season where we do these post-game shows after every Detroit Pistons game. Obviously, your Detroit Pistons just finished up playing the Charlotte Hornets. Good game, but the way it ended wasn't so good. We're going to go over these quarter notes, and always, if you guys have any comments or questions about the game, we'll get into that after I'm done talking with these first through fourth quarter notes. So I think the first thing that we have to talk about is Jalen Duren and his ankle. He rolled it really early into the game. He was helped up. He played for maybe a minute, maybe less, and he kind of went to the back, and he was never to return. And he did have his ankle braces on. It was just a really weird, awkward fall for Jalen Duren. I really don't know what happened. I'd have to go back and watch the game. Just looked like he landed awkwardly in real time, but we'll probably get some kind of indication of what Jalen Duren's status is going forward. And I think there's a reason why your Detroit Pistons decided to pick up Paul Reed, just in case an injury like this could happen throughout the season. Obviously, you hate to see your starting center go down, and you hate to see another ankle injury with Jalen Duren, but that's exactly what happened tonight. So he did tweak his ankle. Cade Cunningham was really hot to start the first quarter. Charlotte did not have an answer for him whatsoever. But I did notice once Cade did go to the bench, the second unit really didn't score when he went to the bench. But the Pistons do end the first quarter 24-23. Transition into the second quarter. Paul Reed actually got some minutes to fill in for Jalen Duren, obviously, because he was injured. And I thought Paul Reed played pretty good. Personally, I thought there were moments for him like running the floor, just playing good defense. Overall, he looked a little bit rusty, but that is to be expected when you don't play a whole lot and you're a third string center. But if Jalen Duren's injury is serious, we're probably going to see a bunch of Isaiah Stewart and Paul Reed this season. Jaden Ivey was making his shots, thank God, because that second half, I really felt like in the first quarter, we were getting to the basket at will, you guys. But the Hornets made adjustments. They made adjustments because we kept trying to force shots in the painted area. They were doubling, triple teaming Cade whenever he did get the basketball. And the stuff that was working in the first quarter was not working in the second, third, or fourth quarter at all. They made adjustments, and I think that's a really big reason why we didn't win the game, because I felt like this was a very winnable game given Charlotte and given the injuries that they have right now. But obviously we didn't win the game. But to end the second quarter, Charlotte took a 46-45 lead going into halftime. We kind of get into the third quarter. In the third quarter, both teams had their moments of just exchanging baskets, trading baskets. I thought that towards the end of the third quarter, Jaden Ivey really settled them down, kind of got them back into a short lead. And he looked good out there, manning the point guard position while Cade Cunningham was getting some rest on the bench. But at the end of the third quarter, you got a 77-76 lead going to the fourth quarter. Charlotte obviously led that. And the fourth quarter, Jaden Ivey within the first 30 seconds, was running in transition, going really fast, and he needed knee contact with Josh Green. He looked like he was in a lot of pain. Looked like he wasn't going to come back. He obviously did to end this game, but he did, bash knees with Josh Green. I thought he was going to be out personally, but it was good to see him back on the court. Paul Reed made some, key moments in this game to get the Pistons, back into this game and compete towards the end of the fourth quarter. Tim Hardaway Jr., I thought, hit some crucial three-point shots tonight. So did Simone Fontecchio. Ron Holland towards the end of the last minute or so of that game comes up with a huge steal on Brandon Miller. They obviously double teamed them, and got the go ahead basket. Charlotte calls timeout, and the inbound play, and this is what we're going to spend a couple of minutes on, and then we'll get to comments and questions with you guys. They contested the 3-point shot, which was great. Obviously, Grant Williams takes the three. They miss it. They didn't box out, and Brandon Miller was right underneath the basket and got the go-ahead bucket. And the Hornets win by 108 to 107. Like, if you guys watch that play back, or even you're going to go watch this game back, you have to box out on possessions like that. I know it's really early in the season still. Pistons are 3-6. Stuff like that, they're going to watch. They're probably going to practice a lot of box outs. I would assume whenever they do practice. I don't know when they are going to practice again, but that was a very winnable game in my opinion. I thought if you would have made adjustments like Charlotte did in the second quarter, this game should have been a 1-point game. You should have easily won this game by 10 points. This was another game where the Pistons really did not turn the ball over like they have in previous games if they've had 20 plus turnovers. I think they only had 11 tonight. It's just, this was a type of game that I thought was winnable. This was the type of game where I thought they could, stack another win, having 3 in a row. Obviously, that did not happen. Your Pistons lose 108 to 107 on a buzzer beater from Brandon Miller. But we're going to get into some comments and some questions. This is going to take a quick break, and we'll kind of just talk to you guys after we're back. All right, we are back. So I do want to get to the part of this podcast, if you're new here, we just kind of broke down the individual quarters for Detroit Pistons. Obviously, they lose 108-107 to Charlotte, and just a heartbreaking loss. We are going to get to some comments and questions to kind of react to you guys. So we have a comment from Ryan Boseman. Such a sloppy game. I agree, Ryan. I thought the first quarter, it was flowing offensively. Charlotte made adjustments with Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey and a bunch of our ball handlers trying to go into the painted area. And we really didn't adjust. We didn't make adjustments. Kind of felt like we settled for some jump shots. Kind of felt like we were settling for threes. Parts of this game, parts in the third quarter. I thought this was a really winnable game personally, but yeah, I thought the game was very, very sloppy. The question from Mike: why did JB Bickerstaff take Paul Reed with the hot hand? I don't know. That's probably a coaching decision. He looked good out there. When towards like I think it was like maybe the 6-minute mark, he took him out, 5-minute mark when he did take him out. I don't know if he needed a break. That's why they put Isaiah Stewart back into the game. But I thought, if he wasn't tired, I would have let Paul Reed out there. I thought he was starting to flow offensively with the guys out there. But yeah, I really don't know, Mike. I would have liked to see him out there for maybe a couple of minutes more, but I think that's a question that maybe some media members would possibly ask JB after this loss. I just don't have an answer for you, man. Sorry. I just don't. Got a comment from Johnny. Didn't get the 3-game win streak I wanted, but the Pistons finished well even in the loss. We didn't give away the game. I agree, Johnny. We didn't give away the game, but I felt like this was a game that they could have won easily. I felt like this was a game that Charlotte was injured. They should have taken full advantage of that. But this wasn't a blowout loss. I think a blowout loss would probably be easier to dissect than a buzzer beater not boxing out loss. That's just me personally. Because to me, I thought this was a winnable game. I don't know about you guys, but I really did. Free throws and rebounds, Mr. Wright commented. I did look at the box score. The Pistons really did not get to the free throw line like Charlotte did. I believe Charlotte had think 16. I don't have the box score pulled up in front of me. I can actually pull it up right now as we're talking, and put it on the screen for you guys. But like, yeah, this kind of like looking at the box score and like looking of like how they did finish the game. I thought that the Pistons should have been to the free throw line a little bit more. Just give me a second. I'm looking for the box score over on ESPN.com right now. So here we go. I'm just pulling it up. Do apologize if you guys are watching live. This is like terrible podcasting on my part. I apologize. And for whatever reason, they won't show me the box score. But I'm pretty sure Charlotte had 16. We had like 5 free throws. But yeah, man, like that was just a really weird game in terms of officiating, because I felt like we got fouled enough to get to the line more than 5 times. That's just me though. But I don't know, maybe you guys can like leave a comment about how you felt with the officiating and, you know, us getting to the free throw line tonight. I had a comment from Pioneered. All the numbers say we should won this game, and I think we should have won by 5 to 10 points easily. We shot ourselves in the foot so much in this game. Charlotte didn't win it. We lost it. I agree. I agree with you, man. Like, I thought this was a winnable game personally as well. I thought there were moments in this game where we settled for jump shots, like you had mentioned. Um, Even though we had 11 turnovers, it felt like we probably had more. There were some fouls that I thought we could have, you know, gone without. But again, you're versing a team that was without, you know, their front court and Mark Williams and others. I mean, they had Taj Gibson out there starting at center tonight. No disrespect towards Taj Gibson, you guys, but he's like 39 years old. Like, you should have been going at him all night and getting him in the foul trouble and taking advantage of that matchup. But obviously, Jalen Duren does go out, Isaiah Stewart. And the way they're using him right now, he's kind of limited up offensively. He's not really shooting 3-point shots as much as he was last year. It's just the way this new coaching staff is using him. Kind of, it's just like a bully ball back up 5, and, you know, just get rebounds and, you know, pass it back out, or if there are shots or opportunities for him to score like around 2 feet around the basket, I guess that's how they're using him now, versus like kind of like having him like stretch the floor like Monty Williams and the wing Casey did in previous years. But I mean, again, I think it's a coaching question that you would have to ask them why they're doing that and why they're using Stewart that way. But I thought there were opportunities for them to close out the game, and they should have easily won this game, in my opinion. Okay, so someone said we had 9 free throws. Okay, I don't know why ESPN for some reason said we had 5 when I was looking on my phone. But I do apologize that I did get that wrong. But overall, I thought we should have been to the free throw line more than 9 times a game. That's just me. I have a comment from Megatron. He says, Cade was doubled and triple teamed in the 4th. I just hate the layup he missed in the 4th. Yeah, I mean, when he gets the ball in the post, teams are looking to double actively with Cade. And I don't think that's going to stop. Teams know the scouting report that Cade's going to have he's going to have the ball in his hand. Excuse me. That's just, you know, that's not my words today. He's going to have the ball in his hands a majority of the time. And what I think what Cade has to get better at, and I think he will, is learning to kick out the ball, pass the ball, find the open man in these situations when, you know, the defense is, you know, surrounding him. I mean, I think George Blaha and Greg Kelser was talking about it in the 3rd quarter, that like Charlotte kind of just collapsed on him and were triple teaming him, and they were expecting him to just shoot it and not pass it. And I think that's what happened tonight. Even though Cade, you look at the box score, he had a good game. I think there are opportunities for him to, you know, kick out the ball more, look for the open man. But again, we're not going to nitpick too much. I thought overall he's had a pretty good season so far. But there are definitely areas of improvement with his game with any young player on this team. But overall, I thought, he could have had a better game personally. He started off the first quarter really good, but Charlotte definitely adjusted with Cade tonight as the game went on. LaMelo Ball was acting like Laurie Markkinen tonight. Yeah. Once he started to get going, this is a comment from Mega Hustle, by the way. Once he started getting going, I thought he could miss because it seemed like for like the first two quarters, he was really struggling. I think he was like 3 for 7 at one point, and then he comes out of the second half and he just can't miss. He had like a really, really deep 3-point shot. I think that either gave them the lead or tied the game at some point in the early fourth. I was like, yeah, it's going to be one of those games where you got to get the ball out of his hands because he's just feeling it from deep. But yeah, man, like he did look like a Larry Markkinen out there tonight. I have a comment from Mr. Wright. Is there any timetable on Bobby Klitman? Tobias Harris has no 3-point shot right now. Really no timetable on Bobby Klitman. I know JB said that they're still kind of waiting to see when he will be back. So that's just when I hear that, it means ask me in 2 weeks and we'll probably give you a better answer. There's a lot of these like injury reports that you guys see on ESPN. These guys get checked out on either a weekly or a bi-weekly basis. Really don't know when he's going to be coming back. I mean, if you guys kind of like track his injury, Bobby Klitman got injured, I believe, during either the open practice or during like a scrimmage, I guess. So I don't know. It was a calf contusion at the time, which those can take a little bit of time to heal. But I feel like we should either see him within next week or the week prior. Personally, if I did have to kind of make an estimate guess, now don't take my word for it. I mean, he could come back this week for all we know. But if you've had a calf contusion before, they take a little bit of time to heal up. But he's definitely a player that I think could contribute. I just don't know how many minutes he would be getting right now, because it seems like they're just kind of alternating Tobias and Simone at that spot at the position Tobias currently plays. So I don't really know how many minutes Bobby would be getting currently in JB's rotation. Then we comment from Jerry Alexander. They were doubling Cade. That's why he only took 2 shots in the fourth. Plus, he was in foul trouble and set the half of the quarter. People always want to blame Cade for everything. I'm not really blaming him for this loss, Jerry. What I would say is before he got into foul trouble, around the second quarter, Charlotte made adjustments to defend him better. And you saw that throughout the game. Anytime Cade wanted to, get to his spots, the elbow spot, get into the mid-range, they defended him much better. What I will say is, yes, he did get into foul trouble tonight. Yes, he was getting double teamed, which I think that's the scattering report for Cade Cunningham on most nights with a lot of these NBA teams, is trying to get the ball out of his hands because once he gets going, he's really hard to stop. Cade will get better. Now, obviously, this was a game that I thought there were moments where he could have looked to pass the ball a little bit more. But overall, I thought he had a pretty decent game. It's just Charlotte made defensive adjustments to defend him better. I'm not really going to point blame towards an individual player. I just thought, offensively, ball movement wise, we settled for 3-point shots in certain parts of the quarters. But this was a winnable game. I think they'll watch the film and break it down and see where they can get better. I'm not going to nitpick on individual players and, they should have passed it here, they should have passed it there. I thought overall the ball movement could have been a little bit better tonight. Comment from Johnny Tech 9 looked a lot better tonight. Yet Simone Fontecchio definitely looked better. I will say that was a player that I know we talked about. I think it was the Lakers game. Someone had asked, was I worried about him And I told you guys I think he's still trying to, figure out JB Bickerstaff's offense, and JB's probably still figuring out how to use Simone where he's effective. But I thought, he had a pretty good game tonight, and I think he could be better personally. I think he's a player that could easily give you a good 10 to 12 points off the bench. And I still think he's still learning this new system under JB, but I was very encouraged to see him play a little bit better tonight. Comment from Organic Lindo. Cade looked like he was pressing to prove he was better than LaMelo in the second and third quarter. Just wanted it too bad and forced some things tonight. I thought that too. I thought that there were moments where it looked like he was forcing it a little bit, and I've kind of talked about it with you guys before, where there have been so many bright spots with Cade, and I don't want to nitpick on him too much, but there are situations this season where it seems like he forces it a little bit, and it kind of makes the offense not flow as well as it possibly could be. But you look at the Lakers game where he was distributing, he was deferring, he was being unselfish in a sense, and it looked good. I think there's just a balance, Organic, so where Cade can be unselfish, but there's also going to be nights where Cade needs to take over the game. Cade needs to be selfish. Cade needs to get to his spots. Like they could probably say, "Hey, Cade, we need you to close out this game. We need you to, get us 8 points to close out this game." I think there's balance to it, and I think he's still learning. When should I be aggressive? When should I kind of defer and be unselfish? And I think he will learn that in due time. But I do see moments where it looks like he tries to press and he's trying to get his offensive going. He's trying to get points on the board. He's trying to get the Pistons back into this game. But that's to be expected when he is a young player, another new coach he's learning. More vets, he's trying to learn where they like to get the ball. But overall, I've been really, really impressed with him so far this season. I think he's taken steps in development of getting better. But that's kind of like what I've seen so far. Like I really don't. I'm not gonna get on his ass too hard because, like I said, it's probably really hard to trust teammates given last year of no spacing, and he feels like he has to do everything himself. But I think he'll get better of learning of when to get his and when to involve teammates as well. Megatron, why was Beasley on the last play? What do you think? I thought Beasley was out there just for 3-point shooting. Obviously, if you look at the last play, he didn't box out. I guess you could kind of nitpick it. Why was he out there? You should have had someone a little bit bigger, more size, but I think he was just out there just in case they needed the 3-point shooters. That's just the way I kind of looked at it. I don't really know how you guys looked at it, but that was my view on it. Eric has a question about Ivy's injury update. I probably don't know anything, Eric. I would probably say with Jaden Ivey, you'll see some reporting possibly tomorrow. They'll get an update, or maybe before the game against the Hawks on Friday. If there is any type of injury, if you're not on Twitter, definitely follow Detroit Pistons PR. They're usually the first to report any type of injury in game or not in game. They'll keep you updated on every Detroit Piston injuries or statuses. But if there is an injury, they will probably tweet it out. I don't really know how severe that injury was. It looked like he just kind of bashed his knee in the fourth quarter, but the fact that he came back is a good sign, because if it was a really serious injury, we probably wouldn't have seen Jaden Ivey to finish out that fourth quarter. Mega Hustle with the comment. Props to Ron Holland for almost winning the game. Yeah, Ron Holland had a pretty decent game. He made a couple of perimeter shots, a couple of 3-point shots. That play in the fourth quarter, I was yelling at my TV, edge of my seat. Ron Holland is getting confident out there, and that's good. And he looks more confident each game too. I know he's in a very limited bench role right now with the Detroit Pistons in his rookie year, but I really like what I'm seeing out of Ron Holland. Back-to-back games where he's made an impact. He made a really big impact with the Los Angeles Lakers game that they had this week. And I thought tonight he had key moments where he was contributing and helping the team try to get back into the game. Game nuts. I didn't watch the game. Did Jaden Ivey get injured? He didn't get injured. He kind of got injured, but he came back. I shouldn't say he didn't get injured. He just was running really, really fast, trying to get the ball in the basket. 30 seconds into the fourth quarter, bashed knees with Josh Green, sat out for around like 5 minutes or so. Got seen by medical attention. They gave him something and he was back. I don't know if they gave him a shot of something or iced him up or just massaged whatever he did injured out. But I think he'll be okay. I don't think it was too bad of an injury. Coming from Johnny, now that you mentioned it, I think it's the first game Ron made a 3-point shot and he made 2 tonight. Yeah, like Ron is starting to put it together. I believe it might have been the Knicks game. I might be wrong. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I think he did make a 3-point shot in the Knicks game, but he's starting to take them more. And I'd like to see him be a little bit more selfish and take that 3-point shot. A lot of times it looks like he's hesitant to shoot that, but I want to see him get reps because you guys know I like the pick with Ron Holland. I think his form isn't broken. I think he's a guy that is going to be okay in this league because if you get him to develop a league average, 3-point shot, you got a player that could contribute for this team. He's a good defensive player as a rookie, really good in transition. It's good to see that he's developing so early into this NBA season. We're not even 10 games in, and he's starting to get more confident with shooting 3-point shots. And I think that was a really big question mark that a lot of us had this past summer when we did draft him is like, how long is that 3-point shot going to take to develop? I mean, he did make 2 tonight. He looks better. He looks confident. But yeah, it's good to see him, knock down those 3-point shots in games like this. Drew Thomas didn't watch the whole game. Did the team show any improvement today, despite the loss? They showed improvement in terms of the turnovers. Back-to-back games have stayed under 15. I think they had 12 turnovers against the Lakers, and then they had 11 turnovers tonight against the Hornets. So they're taking better care of the basketball, but you still like to, have your turnovers around 10 per game. So they're getting better in that aspect, Drew. I thought there were glimpses tonight of them, getting better. But there's still a lot of room for improvement with this team. And I think a lot of the mistakes that they're making right now are very coachable in terms of watching film and getting better each day. But I think this team is going to be an entertaining watch throughout the season. We're 9 games in, and the only game that was completely a blowout was the Knicks game. Every game has been close down to the wire. They've competed for a full 48 minutes. They had an opportunity to win tonight to extend a win streak to 3 games, but outside of not boxing out and Brandon Miller hitting that last minute bucket, I thought they played pretty well. I thought this was a game that they could have won. They should have won, but overall, I've been pretty impressed. The 3-6 in 9 games, I'll take it. We didn't get 3 wins until, if you guys remember, like December 30th. We started last season under Monty Williams like 2-1, and then we went on a 28-game losing streak. The fact that we got our 3rd win in November versus December, baby steps, you guys, progress. I thought that they played pretty well though overall. Joe Pesci has a comment. YJB didn't bring back Paul Reed in the 4th, which Stu was a dumb lineup. I would have had Harris on the bench to close the 4th and play tech. Yeah, I mean, if you guys want to nitpick the rotations last minute, I'll let you do that. The only thing I will say, Joe, is earlier I did mention I probably would have played Paul Reed a little bit more down the stretch in the fourth because it seemed like he was starting to flow offensively with this team, and he had a couple of buckets in the fourth that really helped propel the Pistons back into the game down the stretch. I'm going to have to watch the game back and pay more close attention to the rotations down the stretch. Obviously, when we're watching the game, we're focusing on different things, and I wasn't really too focused on the rotations. I was just kind of focused on the score, so I can't really like get into the rotations down the stretch. But overall, I thought Paul Reed probably should have closed out that fourth for you because he was playing so well. Well, you guys, we don't have too many more questions or comments with this post game show. I am going to see you guys on Friday when we do play the Atlanta Hawks at home. So that should definitely be a really good game. The Hawks are a good team. It's going to be another challenge for the Pistons. Trae Young and company, Jalen Johnson should be a really good game. But I will see you guys Friday immediately after the Atlanta Hawks game, and we should have another podcast. I don't know if we're going to be doing it Saturday or Sunday. We might just do Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm still kind of penciling in a guess for you guys. Obviously, I love doing these post-game podcast shows with you guys, but I still like doing the long form ones on the weekends where, we talk for an hour, we have topics, we discuss it, and then talk to you guys in the comment section. But I do appreciate you guys watching this for the past, 32 minutes or so. I'll talk to you guys on Friday. Hope you guys have a great night. Take care. Peace.